What's going on, Who Dey Nation? It's your boy Ace. I'm back doing a little check-in. No, it's been a while. Gonna try to wait for everybody to get up in here. Um, it's been a while. I decided that I wanted to kind of do a little random Q&A. Also, just wanted to kind of fill people in on what's been going on. I know there's been a lot of comments, questions, and concerns and everything like that. So, just wanted to touch bases with the following. Whether you're here from New Stripe City from day one, or whether you're here from Orange is the New Black, wherever you're from, I just want to touch base with all of y'all, give you guys the opportunity to go ahead and, ask me any questions or put anything that you guys want in there. So the first thing that I want to talk about, hey, what's up? What's up, Oof Lynn? What's up, Davis Martin? What's up, Dave Lennox? First thing that I want to talk about is a lot of people are like, where has the Orange is the New Black podcast going in terms of the live streams? So the past, I think, 2 episodes, I believe, have been audio only. The reason that they've been audio only is that there hasn't been a, clear schedule without conflict. So, I kind of felt like I was misleading you guys and letting you guys down by scheduling live appearances on here and then like things not happening at the last minute. So instead of that happening, I basically said, whenever we're gonna do a live Orange is the New Black, it has to be like when we're actually gonna do it. So I don't want to post this and have you guys waiting for hours, because that just really doesn't sit well with me. I don't want to have you guys, feeling like I don't value your time or value you as fans. So if that is the case, whenever you see me go live, it's gonna be whether it's the Orange is the New Black or whether it's here. That's what I want to do for you guys. The other thing is the Orange is the New Black podcast. You have to be subscribed to it on Cincy Jungle, because if there are scheduling conflicts, that's how it's going to be handled. So sometimes it won't actually be on here. What's up, y'all? How often are the Bengals practicing this week? I have no idea, to be honest with you. Let me see. I think someone asked, do I live in Cincinnati? No, I actually live in Orlando, but I'm from Cincinnati. Originally grew up in Cincinnati, moved to Florida for college. I've been here since, just recently moved to Orlando in, I think, 2017. So what's up, Josh? What's up, Kentucky Ron? And so I'm here just to make sure you guys know that I value you. I'm here to check in with you guys. It's been pretty spotty lately. I'm not going to lie, it's been a lot going on between projects that I'm on at work and just a lot of stuff in general. I have my own job that I have outside of here, but then, that also comes with wearing several hats in different locations. So obviously we have the Orange is the New Black podcast, where I also am the producer. So I have to also, upload, cut, and push those things up. Also posted on Cincy Jungle and stuff like that. And then I have the other podcast that I'm on as well, the AFC North Talk. It's another YouTube channel. Please be sure to check out that one as well. So I've been doing a lot of stuff. I got a lot of stuff coming through the pipelines, but it just got to a point where I kind of got burnt out because it was just too much for me to try to manage everything. But I'm trying to get more consistent and develop other ways to kind of move around that. What's my prediction for the Bengals record this year? I think for the most part, with COVID and everything going on, it's hard to really say because they don't have a preseason. So I think before I was kind of at a 9-7 kind of thing. Now, given the whole circumstances with COVID, not knowing how much Joe Burrow is going to get in a preseason, I don't know how that's going to really affect him, with it being a situation where he's walking into a new offense, new players, no one's he's ever played with before, hasn't had that training camp and stuff like that. So honestly, before this, I was saying like 9-7, I thought. But I think now, given the circumstances, I think 7-9 will be decent, but we'll have to see what happens. Yeah, it's definitely great to have AJ Green back for sure. I wanted him signed to a long-term deal. The good thing about this, though, is because of COVID, it seems that AJ and the Bengals have been were in constant communication. They're on the same page. So it seems like even though they franchised him, it could be a situation where the next year he's still going to end up staying here. So I think Oofland is correct on that. We're saying that he thinks that that AJ is going to win Comeback Player of the Year. All right, you guys still there? All right, cool. Yeah, AJ is definitely going to the Hall of Fame. Thoughts on a possible contract extensions this season for Joe Mixon and AJ Green? I think AJ Green is at least on hold until the offseason. And I think Joe Mixon, from what I've heard, now that they've got the Joe Burrow contract done, I heard that they're looking at it. I think that was Tyler Dragon on Twitter that said something like that, that it's possible that Joe Mixon could be the guy that they're looking at. What's up, Kentucky Ron? I think that they can beat the Chargers, Josh. The Chargers, low-key, might be in the same position. Like, a lot of people are saying that they're going to have Tyrod and stuff like that, but I think that it's possible that they could be in a different position as well. AJ for the Hall of Fame. If AJ is right, he'll get paid. Brandon Allen. I did see that. I heard that Brandon Allen had COVID. So let me put the question up on the screen. How do you feel about the Bengals signing Brandon Allen and Tristan Vizcaino? I like Vizcaino. I think he's a pretty decent kicker. I remember that name just from fantasy football, if I'm not mistaken. I think Brandon Allen shows that they're not committed to Ryan Finley after being super high on him, and I think that's the right move. I do though think that the person that I want to see get a chance in terms of backup is Jake Delgado, but I like what it means. I like what it stands for. Do I think any undrafted free agents offensive line could emerge as a starter? Nah, Darian. I don't think that you want that. Like, not saying that it's not possible, because you look at Trey Hopkins. Obviously, with Trey Hopkins, he was a guy that was undrafted before himself, but that would be a solid order. Like, it took Trey Hopkins probably like 3 or 4 seasons to get to where he is now. He kind of flew under the radar. So in terms of them having an impact right now, I don't see it unless there was like some crazy like injury to happen or something like that. Where would I rank Mixon in the top 10 running backs? That's a good question. I had to think of my list. So give me 1 second. Let me pull up a list of the top NFL running backs. Let's see. Let's go 2020, because whenever you put in years, it's always weird. So if I had to look, I mean, he's definitely in my top 10 running backs that I would rate over him. I think Christian McCaffrey. I think Saquon Barkley, Ezekiel Elliott, Derrick Henry. I think you have to, just based off of the last 2 seasons, but I think it's pretty close there. Nick Chubb, I think, is pretty close with as well. Dalvin Cook, I can't say is better than Joe Mixon. I think that they're like at least tied, because Dalvin Cook has had a lot of injuries thus far. And don't get me wrong, I was a huge Dalvin Cook guy coming in, but I'm not going to put Dalvin Cook over him. Alvin Kamara, I mean, they're 2 different type of running backs. So, I mean, he had 18 total touchdowns, but they're 2 different kinds. So if you are going to put him, I think that's probably the only person. So I think I'm at 7. I think 7 for me right now, based on what Joe Mixon has done at this point in his career, is where he's at for me. Possibly 6. I think it's easy for him to enter into that top 5, even the top 3, based on what we've seen, because this guy is talented. All it really needs to improve really for him is just the situation around him. I think if you improve that situation, then he's going to be good to go for sure. Pico return. Nah, bro. I do not want to see Domata Peko return. I mean, honestly, I know people are going to say, given that we've had, certain players opt out, Josh Tupou opted out for the season. What are you bringing? What is Peko going to do? I'd rather give those snaps to Renell Wren. He's a younger guy. He's got a way higher ceiling than Peko does at this point. Domata Peko essentially is kind of like washed up now. He's kind of searching for a job. So I don't see him contributing in a case or as a fit with this team, I guess. Can't believe no Bengals made the top 100. I'm with you on that, but I can, because the NFL for some reason hates us. Ones that stuck out to me that I couldn't believe is how do Todd Gurley and Larry Fitzgerald make the list over Tyler Boyd and Joe Mixon? I mean, those were just pretty much name picks because neither one of those guys. I mean, Larry Fitzgerald, all respect to him, he's a GOAT. But at the end of the day, he only had 700 receiving yards last year. He didn't even have 1,000. There's no way to me that he had a better season than Tyler Boyd. But to each his own. But to me, I felt that. And I also felt like Todd Gurley, based on last year, based off of the injury and everything, he was not better than Joe Mixon last year. And I'll debate that against anybody. But yeah, it's kind of crazy. I think that there were no Bengals on the top 100 because we had a number one draft pick. I think that played a huge part in it. But still, at the end of the day, I didn't feel like that was right. But it is what it is. Pico as a D-line coach. With us now being a month, let me put this up on the screen. With us now being a month, in the month for training camps to actually start, what would the first team activity be that you would like to see? I mean, for me, I would like to see a lot of things. I would like to see possibly some live scrimmages. I'm not sure what the actual how they're going to do that. Being that training camps and stuff are shut down to everyone. I don't know if they stream these. I don't know if we get bits and pieces. I would like to see that stuff. I would like to see scrimmages. I would like to see how the offense is coming along because we've seen that in the past. But that's typically what I would like to see, but I don't know exactly what they're allowing and what the NFL rules are for that. So I would like to see that. And I would like to see who would be the starters. I would like to see, who's with the first group on the offensive line. I'd like to see on defense. I'd like to see who's the starting linebackers. I would like to see all of that. And I also would like to see how some of the new guys are playing. I think we were kind of spoiled in the past with a lot of tweets and stuff from Bengals sports writers actually being on site to be able to let us know. Hopefully that'll continue to happen. But that's what I would really like to see. It's really hard to answer this one, Jawan, because with the undrafted free agent class, like with the restrictions, now I don't know if you're saying unrestricted free agents or if you're saying the undrafted class. So I'll probably come back to that one once you clarify. But if we're talking about the undrafted free agent rookies, I'm not sure what to expect with them, being that COVID has changed so many things. From a roster standpoint, it's hard for those guys to make an active roster, given that we don't have preseason to really judge them off of. Yeah, someone said Tyler Boyd is underrated. Douglas said Tyler Boyd is underrated and disrespected. I totally agree. I actually did a whole video on that saying that he's the most underrated wide receiver or NFL player, period, in the league, because, when you talk to people about Tyler Boyd, it's almost like they assume that he's an average receiver. But if he were to have a different name, such as a Jarvis Landry, and I'm not trying to pick on Jarvis because he's one of my favorite receivers, but, a lot of similar numbers, just one guy has a name that kind of resonates with people, I guess. Yeah, I agree, Brian. If Pecco was like younger, different conversation, but he's kind of old and washed up. Who do I think the starting linebackers will be? I think that Josh Bynes is definitely going to be a starter. I think Jermaine Pratt at least starts off with at least one of those two positions. And then I think that it comes down to either Akeem Davis-Gaither or Logan Wilson. I think that they battle it out for that last linebacker spot. But then you've got different things. You got nickel packages. You got all kind of things. So a lot of these guys can play, but we'll have to see what happens. I'm really a big fan of Marcus Bailey. I think he's a dark horse. And that's what also sucks about this, man, because, and I'm not trying to be negative or downplay anything, but, preseason is important because that's when you can see which one of these guys stands out. And, preseason really helps get guys reps. It really lets us know what's going on. We're going into a season where we got a bunch of rookie linebackers that, will be having their very first NFL game take place to open the season. It would just be cooler if they had, a couple games to get used to everything. But obviously, given the circumstances, I can't be mad at them for canceling the preseason. It only makes sense. But it puts a lot on a rookie's shoulders, I guess, in order for them to get everything going down. Let's see. What am I looking for John Ross? Do you bring him back if he balls out this season? I'm thinking that John Ross is taking off this year. I'd buy a lot of stock in John Ross right now. I think that he's gonna get even better. I mean, we saw him take a step forward we saw him take a step forward last season, just from playing with Zach Taylor. And I think that Zach Taylor obviously knew how to utilize John Ross, which was something that the past regime really wasn't good at. And I think the fact that now he has a quarterback that can actually get him the ball that's more accurate, and it's no shade against Dalton, but you're going to see not only is John Ross, but you're going to see a lot of these receivers do a lot better because they won't have to adjust the balls and stuff like that. Now, obviously, there has to be chemistry that builds up, and obviously, Joe Burrow is just a rookie, but I really like the fit with John Ross and Joe Burrow. Unfortunately, I think that if he balls out, it's going to be too much to bring him back, and I think that they've already declined his rookie option, so the worst thing that's going to happen is John Ross is going to ball out, and then he goes somewhere wherever he wants, and the Bengals won't get anything for him. But I think that we do get something because technically I think it will be some kind of compensation. Now, I don't know how that works, even if we've declined his option. But I think at best, I think we'd be able to get like a third pick or something. Let's just hope that he does not stay in the division. Hey, what's up, Curtis? What's going on? So, as I said before, I'm here just going live, just giving you guys a recap of what's been going on. Appreciate you guys for rocking with me, hanging with me, and everything. I'm going to try to make things more consistent. I'm actually thinking of asking you guys if you know anyone who could help with the production of the podcast. We don't have a problem with, and when I say that, I mean like scheduling, possibly editing some of the audio and stuff like that. Because I just don't have as much time as I'd like to handle those kind of things. So if you guys do know someone that does and is willing to do that, please let me know. Tell them to holler at me on Twitter at New Stripe City. Definitely would would appreciate some help on that stuff because it's just a lot really on my plate right now. So if you guys do know anybody, let me know. Outside of that, a lot of people are used to the shows appearing on here. And like I stated earlier before some of you guys jumped on, just repeating it for some of the ones who haven't heard it. I decided that until we consistently are going live and at the right time and at the time that you guys are expecting us, I didn't want to keep going live and then you guys are waiting for hours on end because I just don't like when people waste people's time, and I'm not going to waste you guys' time when it comes to stuff like that because I'm very appreciative of all the support from my channel, all my viewers, listeners. You guys have my utmost respect. So the best thing that I can do is respect your time. And so whenever we go live on here, it's going to be live. If you don't hear us go live on here, check the actual app, Cincy Jungle app, because that may be something where we couldn't put together a time to go live together, and we were only able to pretty much go with the audio version only. So definitely be sure to check that out. Any idea when the Bengals have their media day? I do not. I'll have to actually look that up, Derek. So that's something that I would take note of and see. I did see that they did some stuff with Joe Burrow already. Obviously, they've been waiting for him to get there for the longest. So they did do some videos. You can check them out on Bengals.com. And usually when they do media day, I think it's on Bengals.com as well. I just personally haven't heard anything yet. There may be fans in the chat that have, but from what I've seen, I haven't seen anything. Who will be our starting offensive line? I think if I'm looking at the starting offensive line, I think obviously Jonah Williams is going to be your left tackle. I think at left guard, that's where it gets pretty interesting because it could be a number of people within that area. People are going to have their own opinions. I'm no NFL scout. I'm no NFL coach. I'm not in the Bengals locker room. I just go based off of certain things that they've done. I'm not going to sit here and claim that I know. But I would think that based off of their actions, you would have to think that they like Michael Jordan for that spot. You also have Billy Price, Alex Redmond, they also have Suafilo, but it seems like they want to make him, the right guard, and they also want to have Billy Price fight over there. So I think it'll be interesting to see that fight happen. You also have Trey Hopkins. I think that Trey Hopkins. So if I'm backing up, we've got Jonah Williams, Michael Jordan, Trey Hopkins, obviously at the center. You got Suafilo, I think is pretty much penciled in at the right guard unless he's horrible. And then you have Bobby Hart, and you also have my guy. I can't believe his name is escaping me right now. Fred Johnson. Okay, Fred Johnson. I think Fred Johnson is going to upset Bobby Hart and take that position. And I think that the Bengals may either, keep Bobby Hart as a reserve to do a swing kind of thing, or they may cut him because, that would be a pretty expensive backup to have. So we'll see. I'm not trying to wish bad on Bobby or anything like that. I'm not trying to trash him or anything. I just know, like, if it's close, the Bengals are probably going to look at it from an economic standpoint and discuss, like, hey, we need to re-sign Joe Mixon and all of these other guys. We're looking at William Jackson III coming down the line, and they might make the move. So we'll have to see. What's my budget for audio and editing? Hit me up on Twitter, Diehard Barton at New Stripe City. I'll let you know what we can do. And anybody that is, willing to help out in that area or is interested in that area, please let me know. In terms of video editing, it's not going to even really be much unless you want to do something special. Generally, what I do is I kind of go live here on StreamYard. After we're done, there's actually an option for me to just download the audio. So I generally do that, but there's certain things that I have to cut out, like certain pub sponsors and stuff like that. And then also we have to add in the intro and stuff like that. So it's not too much, but then after that, it has to be uploaded to the podcast and then posted on Cincy Jungle, written up and all of that. So that's what I would hope someone could help with. Not saying that they have to do all of that, but it would just make my life a lot easier. Let's see. Bobby Hart is terrible. Man, that's messed up, y'all. Hakeem Adeniji, that's gonna be a sleeper too. Yeah, Turner is definitely all in. Do I think Joe Burrow will have growing pains? I think he could in this season because it's not your typical season, but I don't think that should be held against him either. What do you think Auden Tate's role is going to be? I think Auden Tate's role is it sickle 1D? I think Auden Tate is going to be a reserve receiver. I hope he is active because he's very talented, but it's a very deep room. So we'll have to see how things play out. If someone gets hurt, I think he obviously comes in and is able to contribute as he did last year. What team do you think will have the first pick in the draft next year? Sorry for my guys that are Florida fans and maybe Jags fans, but I'm going to have to go with the Jaguars. I think that they're really on track right now to tank for Trevor Lawrence. I think that they're purposely doing it, but you just never know with it. Sick lid, my bad. Okay, I saw the one. I didn't know. Yeah, I think that it's probably going to be the Jaguars. Someone said the Jets. Yeah, the Jets could do it too. So what I'll try to start doing, guys, is I'll try to start going live and give you guys the chance to ask any questions and stuff because I really like coming on here and doing the Q&A. That was one of the reasons that I like doing the show live here. There's also going to possibly be a possible thing where we do the show live from Zim's Instagram. So stay tuned for that. We'll have to see what's going on with that. I'm not sure. It's probably one of those things where you have to follow us on Instagram in order to for sure see it and be watching it at that same time. So follow him at Zim_Hude. Follow me at New Stripe City on Instagram because we may be going live on there as well. So, and that might not just be the show. That may just be in general. Do I believe that we can win a Super Bowl with Burrow at the helm? Yeah, I definitely think so. I think when you have a quarterback, it's one of those positions where you can nullify bad ownership, you can nullify bad coaching, and all of that with a great quarterback. So, if you do get that situation, then yes. And one thing that I want to talk about, and it was a debate that just came up in general because we were talking about the top 100, and there was a lot of people upset about Patrick Mahomes, not being rated the number one player in the NFL. I personally thought on the top 100 that it was going to be Lamar Jackson because when you look at, last season, based off of last season, no one outplayed him. Like if there was anyone that came close for the regular season or just the season in general, I think that it was Russell Wilson. And, we saw not only Lamar Jackson, but Russell Wilson also be chosen over Pat Mahomes. But one thing that I wanted to circle in on Pat Mahomes, it kind of raised this debate of, who's the best between the two. And I think Pat Mahomes obviously is the better thrower. But when you talk about player, they're both very good at what they do. And for me, the question was, if you're picking a team right now, who would you pick? And, some of my friends, or majority of my friends, most of them said Pat Mahomes. I went with Lamar Jackson. And my point was this: Pat Mahomes is an amazing quarterback. I'm not taking anything away from him. He's got the best arm in the league. He's unreal. He obviously had an MVP season. But look at the situation that he was put into. Now, we talk about Joe Burrow having an amazing situation here, right? But Pat Mahomes' situation was even better than Joe Burrow's. And, just listen to this. So before Pat Mahomes went to the Chiefs, right? Before he was even there, Chiefs had already been 11-5 team, 12-4. They never missed the playoffs, right? So Joe Burrow already was going into a situation where that's not the case, right? The Chiefs had Andy Reid. Andy Reid is one of the best play callers in the NFL, if not the best play caller in the NFL. That's another thing that Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson didn't have. You also talk about the weapons, Tyreek Hill. You also talk about Travis Kelce, the offensive line there. He had Kareem Hunt and all of these guys that were there. So they always had weapons. You look at him now, he still got Sammy Watkins. The Bengals may have something that can rival that. So I can give Joe Burrow that. But when you look at Lamar Jackson, he only had Hollywood Brown and, Willie Snead. To me, Lamar Jackson has done more with less and went into a less ideal situation than Pat Mahomes did and has proven that he can do that. If you take Pat Mahomes away, still a great quarterback, but if you give him, the play calling that Zach Taylor had last season, or you give him, a really bad offensive coordinator, you give him a team that has an offensive line as bad as Andy Dalton had 2 years ago, and you give him the receiving core that the Ravens have now, does that team make the playoffs? And I'm not trying to be funny or anything, but I think that you have to take that into account when you look at the situation that guys go into. If Joe Burrow were to go into that situation or Lamar Jackson were to go into that situation, it would be amazing. You look at the Ravens situation. The Ravens situation before Lamar got there was a disaster. They were a team that at one point went 5-11. They missed the playoffs so many times. The Chiefs weren't missing the playoffs without Pat Mahomes. So I think that's one thing that you have to look at is when you put these guys in these situations, you have to think about what they're going into. Pat Mahomes went into a great situation. He also got to sit for an entire year behind a veteran quarterback. And you have to remember that also this was a guy, and I'm just trying to say you got to respect Andy Reid. Andy Reid made Alex Smith in 2017 look like an MVP candidate. And I'm not saying that it's the same here, but he's getting the best version of Pat Mahomes because it's him calling it. But, you put any quarterback that's good in that situation, a la Lamar Jackson, a la Joe Burrow, we still have to see Joe Burrow play. But that's a great situation to go into. That's not typical. It's really not a typical situation. So I think when you judge these guys, you have to judge them based off of their situations. And so we'll have to see what happens with Joe Burrow when it comes to that. But that's where my argument came for why I would take Lamar Jackson over Pat Mahomes if I'm just starting a brand new team, because I know that my receiving core can be basically trash and that my offense is still going to eat based off of Lamar Jackson. And a lot of people say, oh, the running backs are good. Those running backs his first year weren't good. Like Alex Collins and Gus Edwards, nah, I'm good. Someone asked, Jawan asked, am I in on Anarumo as the DC? I actually liked Anarumo last year. A lot of people weren't in on him. I liked a lot of the things that he did with the hybrid and the 52 and the different things, and I like how he made adjustments at the end of the season to tighten things up. I think he at least earned, another season to see what we could do with him. Which tight end would I start between CJ Uzomah and Drew Sample? I would go with Uzomah unless Drew Sample shows me that he has great chemistry with Joe Burrow. Yes, exactly. Russell Wilson is another one. No matter what, like Russell Wilson's situation wasn't as good as Pat Mahomes is either. He lost a lot of those guys from the Legion of Boom. He lost pretty much everything he had, no offensive line. His wide receivers weren't great. He's one of those guys you're always going to have a chance. Yep. Yeah, and that's the crazy thing. The other thing with Lamar Jackson as well is, last year this guy is still like he could still go to another level. That wasn't his best season. That possibly wasn't his best season. That was like his first season as a starter. So we'll have to see. Yes, sir. What's up, Diddy? Appreciate you. People say that he can't pass, but he drops some nice. Jacob, I'm gonna say right now because I've been watching this kid since he was at Louisville. Lamar Jackson can pass. Like he's not Pat Mahomes. He's not like all of these other guys. But at the end of the day, he can pass better than Cam Newton and a lot of other guys. He can make some nice throws. He can definitely throw some dimes and throw in the tight windows. A lot of people forgot. And when I was asking for the Bengals to draft him, I was saying he played and came out of a pro-style offense at Louisville. Like, this is a guy that can throw. Now, is it his strong suit? No. I'm not going to sit here and say that he's an A1 laser-pointed quarterback, but he's good enough to, I think he's an above-average thrower of the ball. He's not, like, that bad. Yeah, that is true. I have to give it to Mahomes. I mean, dude won a Super Bowl. Nothing wrong with him doing that, and like you said, doing that coming off of a hip surgery, I understand. But this is the thing. This is the reason why Pat Mahomes didn't win. And I hope you guys don't get upset for me going off topic with the Bengals, but this is why Pat Mahomes didn't win. Number one, you have to remember that. Yes, he did win a Super Bowl that season, but look how many touchdowns that he threw last season, 25, nearly half the amount of what he threw the season before. So he wasn't the same player that he was a year ago. And I know that he got hurt at some point during the season and stuff like that, but he still wasn't that, that's a high bar to set, right? Like if you go out and throw 51 touchdowns, you're expected to throw at least 40 the next season, 40 minimum, right? And he didn't do that. So I think that's why people said like, 2018 Pat Mahomes and 2019 Pat Mahomes were two different people. So I think that's what they're saying. Now, if you're rating 2018 Pat Mahomes versus 2019 LJ, that's a huge debate. I think that you probably go with Pat Mahomes, but 2018 Pat Mahomes was not 2019 Pat Mahomes. Like he actually played better the year that he didn't win the Super Bowl than the year that he did. Do I think that Zach Taylor should be calling plays? Davis Martin, thanks for the question. I hope that Zach gets to a position where if he does call plays or he struggles with calling plays again this season, we have to see because now he's got Joe Burrow. But if he is struggling and if he needs to concentrate on other aspects of the team, I think that he should relinquish that. But if not, if he feels like he can do it, why not? Let's see if he can do it. We'll see. Yeah, Alex Smith isn't that bad. I'm not even going in on Alex Smith, but a lot of people felt like Alex Smith was an average quarterback, but Andy Reid got the best out of Alex Smith that we have ever seen. Like I'm talking about top 5 MVP voting Alex Smith. Like that was crazy. So, of course, when you take a quarterback that has even a better arm and a better skill set in an offense with top NFL players, now don't forget Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce were already top NFL players. You add that to it, of course, it's going to look a lot better. Yeah, Josh Edwards was like Gus Edwards was definitely a system back because for me, that's what made me realize how important Lamar was. Like when we played him that first season, I think that was 2017, right? and we went against him, and they only had like Gus Edwards. They really didn't have anybody, right? I know you guys remember that game. Gus Edwards would get like 5 to 6 yards a pop just based off of that option, with our defense thinking that Lamar Jackson had the ball. And that's what happens when you have him. Like, it doesn't matter who you have at running back. They're going to eat because more people are worried about Lamar having the ball than the other person. So they're going to go after Lamar, and then the other guy's just running around the corner, and he's getting 5 to 7 yards every time. And nothing against Mark Ingram. It's not that Mark Ingram is just this amazing running back. He still did his thing in New Orleans. He's still a solid running back now, but he's not a top 10 running back, which some people kind of are trying to say. Like, a lot of that is the Lamar Jackson factor there. Hold on. I gotta give a shout out to my man Brandon, because you definitely hit me with the super chat. Appreciate that. Brandon, be honest, what's our record this year? Do you think we'll make the playoffs? Like I said, I think with the COVID situation, it changes things. I think 7-9. Do I think it'll be a down year for the Ravens? I can't say that. But I think it'll be a season where the division starts to fight back against them. I can't say that. I like to see how we line up against them. And it looks like we have another super chat here from my man Sis. The Mahomes hurt excuse doesn't work. He was only out for 2 games, bro. And plus his playoff numbers were hot garbage, to be honest. Exactly, bro. Like, he wasn't, it's not like he missed 5 or 6 games or anything like that. Like, there, in 2 games, he's not going to throw 25 more touchdowns. So, again, this is Pat Mahomes that we're talking about. So when you talk about him, you have to be comparing him to Pat Mahomes' tier performance that we've seen. And 2018 Pat Mahomes, 2019 Pat Mahomes, night and day. That's all I'm gonna say. Yeah, it seems that somebody else, Brian Callahan, called plays at the Senior Bowl, is what I'm seeing in the comments. Who's gonna stop our wide receiver core? Nobody. I agree, bro. I agree. Man, I would love to see Carl Lawson get back to 2017. Carl Lawson. I would love to see that as well. Hold on 1 second, guys. Boxing coach is texting me right now. Gonna try to get some sparring in tomorrow. COVID, man. With COVID, I've definitely put some more of that weight on with COVID, just being in the house and stuff. So I'm trying to work that back off as well. And for everyone out there, man, please take your health seriously. I, just had one of my good friends from college pass away from a heart attack. His funeral is next weekend. He was just a guy that over time wasn't really, it's not like he was super, super huge, but he got to that point gradually. And, unfortunately, it was one of the reasons that he had a heart attack. So not to make anybody feel a type of way, I'm just saying, there's people that care about you, people that love you, and you gotta take care of yourself, whether that's stress, whether that's overeating, whether that's making sure that you have the right diet, because it's happening to guys that are young, guys in their 30s, guys under their 30s. So just do what you can to try to stay safe, man, for sure. Yeah, Ravens secondary versus the Bengals receivers is definitely going to be fun to watch, Jacob. Man, Jay Wash, that's gonna be tough, bro. It's like we always get hit with injuries. Yes, Brian. Everybody stay safe for sure. But yeah, man, I just wanted to come through here and show you guys some love, give you guys some explanations. Like I said, if you guys know anybody that can help with producing the show, let me know. You can find me on Twitter at New Stripe City. Definitely willing to hear any suggestions or any assistance with that, because I would like for this to be as consistent as possible. Someone that can help with scheduling, someone that can help with editing, producing, and stuff like that, uploading. I would truly appreciate that. I have no problem with being in place and stuff like that. Not a problem at all. But with that being said, thank you guys for coming through and checking out the channel. Please continue to support. I'm going to try to upload as much stuff as I can, possibly. Like I said, at work, it's been very busy with me being on projects and stuff like that. But I'm not forgetting about Who Dey Nation. Since the season has kind of slowed down, and things have slowed down. I've kind of slowed down a little bit, just because, like I said, I'm only one person. I can only do one thing. I'm involved in multiple different podcasts and multiple different things. So trying to get back to getting things consistent again, and appreciate it. Appreciate you guys like hanging on and supporting me, man, because you guys could have unsubscribed and stuff like that, but you didn't. So appreciate you guys hanging with me. And yeah, man, I appreciate you guys. Thank you, Jacob. Thank you, Mullet Mafia. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate that, man. You guys take it easy. I'm out. Who Dey? All day, every day, especially on Sunday.